Okay. Well, I was going to talk about group dynamics. I referred to this in the previous podcast. I read studies where they take groups of alpha males and put them in a room, and they find out that these groups, like say there's 4 alpha males in one room, they will form predictable hierarchical groupings. Like you'll get one guy who's the alpha male, his friendly henchman, then the third in command who's kind of like just non-threatening or whatever, and then the Bolton guy who everybody else picks on. And that's basically the Beatles really, isn't it? If you think about it, right? You've got John Lennon, he's the boss, his friendly, affable sidekick, Paul McCartney, the non-threatening, not very present, George Harrison, and then Ringo, the one that everybody picked on. Top Gear, right? You got Jeremy Clarkson, he's the main guy. His henchman is James May, right? Stig is the kind of guy that they don't, doesn't say much or whatever. And then you got the bottom guy, Richard Hammond, right? That everybody sort of picks on, but it's not cut and dry, but yeah. And then you got the Rat Pack, right? You got Frank Sinatra as the alpha male, his lovable sidekick, Dean Martin, Peter Lawford, who is the kind of guy that, I don't know anything about him or whatever, but he's there. And then you got Sammy Davis Jr., the guy that they all make fun of, right? Not just males, females, Sex in the City. Okay. You got the main chick, Carrie Bradshaw. You got her second lovable, the Kim Cattrall character. You got the kind of whatever one that nobody really gives a shit about, the redhead one. And then you got the goofy dumb one, like the Ringo one, who's the brunette one. Sorry, I don't know the names of these people. Where else have we got this? But yeah, you see it everywhere. Any kind of grouping. And it's like a family in a way, isn't it? You got the daddy bear, the mummy bear, the baby bear, and like the in-between bear who's like just a kid or something. I don't know, that nobody gives a shit about. So yeah. But they've done, it's just the natural group dynamics, the way human beings, probably baboons do this as well. And like I said, even if all of them are all alpha males, they will still end up in this hierarchical setup. I'm trying to think of other, okay, let's try the Spice Girls. Who's the leader of the Spice Girls? Who's the leader of the Spice Girls? Yeah, actually, the one, the sort of George Harrison Stig one, they're supposed to be not that likable or not, there's something or other or not. Yeah, so Peter Lawford, they're kind of, they're not, and then you got the younger one who's the cute one. So let's try, what was I talking about there? I've forgotten who I'm talking about, what crowd was I talking about, what group? Oh, I can't remember. The Spice Girls. So you've got, alright, who's the leader of them? They didn't really have a leader, did they? Who's it? Yeah, that was the problem with them. They never really had a leader. Yeah, the Baby Spice. Okay, she's the Ringo. Maybe that's their problem. They didn't have a John Lennon. It was either Scary Spice or, that's what it was, Scary. And that's why it was probably Scary or Jerry. And that's why Jerry had to piss off. The Scary was the boss. Then I guess the second in command was Posh. And then you had, I guess, Sporty is the sort of one that nobody gives a shit about. Okay, take that. Alright. Now take that. I guess Gary Barlow is, I don't know, is he, I'm not showing off here, but I don't really know about Take That much. Was there 5 of them? Or 4 of them? Because there's Gary Barlow as a singer, Robbie Williams, I guess he's the lovable henchman or sidekick. And then there's Mark Owen, he's the baby one. And then isn't there 2 other guys, or is there 5 of them or 4 of them? I honestly can't remember. There's a Jason Orange guy, and then there's a Harvey guy or something, isn't there? Or is that some other band? I don't know. Who knows? So, and who else have we got? What's going on? Who's big nowadays? Who's big? Into probably One Direction. I don't know who's the main guy. I guess that Harry Styles. I don't know the rest of them. I can't, thankfully know what the hell that's all about. And bands are definitely set up like that. You've got the lead singer. You got the lead guitarist. You got the lead singer who's the alpha guy. The lead guitarist who's the sort of sidekick. The bass player is the guy that nobody gives a shit about. And the drummer is the lunatic, the sort of like goofy guy everybody makes fun of. Right? I mean, that's just the way it is. That's the Who. Let's see the Stones. I mean, the Stones have got, who did they pick on? They picked on Brian Jones. Yeah. I mean, they don't really pick on Charlie, did they? I don't know. Maybe that's why Brian Jones died. Who knows what happened there. Daddy Bear, Mummy Bear, Baby Bear, and the other prick, I don't know. So, where else is this? The Three Musketeers. Yeah? And D'Artagnan. D'Artagnan's like the baby. He's the Ringo Starr. I always say like the countries of Britain are like that. I think I've already made this joke before. Scotland is John Lennon, the leader, the one with the brains, the one the girls like. Ireland's the lovable sidekick, Wales is Ringo, and in England is Pete Best. I've said it many a time before. Trying to think who else is big. Led Zeppelin. Yeah. They don't really have that. They're more musicians. Yeah, well, then there's Black Sabbath. I guess Tony Iommi is the guy. Yeah, well, there we go. Tony Iommi is, Tony Iommi is the main guy, I think. Or is it Ozzy? Well, Ozzy's not really the alpha male of that band. Tony Iommi, and then Geezer is the sidekick. Bill Ward is the guy everybody picked on. I guess Ozzy and Bill Ward. I guess they had 2 Ringos. What other bands? U2. Got Alpha Male. Well, there we go. Edge, obviously, the boring bass player, and I don't know, the drummer. I don't know if they really pick on him, but yeah, I mean, it just seems rock bands are made for that. That's why, every rock band needs a boring person, and that's why they invented the bass guitar. Who else? Who else is a big band? Yeah. Who knows? The Smiths. Well, they had Morrissey and then his sidekick. The bass player for the Smiths is a great bass player. I saw interviews with him. He became a heroin addict, and he seems thick as shit, if I'm honest, but he had a lot of great bass lines. I don't think he's really recognised how good his bass lines were. What other bands is there? Oasis, they're more like the Stones, I guess. You got the Mick and Keith thing, but they're brothers. And then the other guys are kind of interchangeable, more like the Kinks maybe. Like the drummers, they get rid of the drum. Maybe they're more like the Kinks. It doesn't really matter who's drumming or playing the bass. They still sound the same, sorta. Well, not as good songs. That's more to do with Noel Gallagher's lateness, I think. Who else? Big bands. Are there any big bands now? Let's look at a hip hop thing. Do they have that? They have Public Enemy. Yeah, they got Public Enemy. You got Chuck D. Okay, finished.